Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel that takes you deep inside the San Francisco 49ers. I am your host, Jack Hammer. Today, I have a question that's come up to me a number of times that I wanted to address, and it's this. What's something, Jack, that you believe isn't discussed enough with this 49ers team, or something that you think people are getting wrong? And the reason this is a great question, I think, is because they go together, and it's about the same thing. It's about the 49ers offensive line. I don't think it's being talked about enough, and I think when people do bring it up, they're talking about it in the wrong ways. Obviously this offseason, the 49ers quarterback position, Brock Purdy, Trey Lance, Sam Darnold, has dominated the discussion. But this offensive line, a lot of times when it gets brought up, it's brought up as a negative. It's brought up as a reason that the 49ers are not going to be successful and get to the Super Bowl here in 2023. And I think that is incorrect. I think the 49ers offensive line, especially their starting five, is one of the best in the NFL. They're returning four of their starters from last year: Trent Williams, Aaron Banks, Jake Brendel, Spencer Burford, all returning. The only change, Mike McGlinchey's out. In comes Colton McKivitz. And I think a lot of people are looking at that change from McGlinchey to McKivitz thinking that it's going to be a disaster. And what I'll point back to, we don't know for sure how it's going to play out, but the 49ers have found success with guys like McKivitz in the past, especially since they have Trent Williams over there. I think, you look at it, McKivitz played well in week 18 of the 2021 season in a game that the 49ers had to win down in Los Angeles. He played okay, wasn't great, wasn't bad. That's why I say he played well. He was able to hold his own, and the 49ers in that game came back from a 17-point deficit to pick up the win. So he obviously was able to help the team out somewhat in that game. And then last year against the Rams up at Levi Stadium, again in place of Trent Williams, the 49ers were able to win that one with Colton McKivitz over at left tackle. There's a possibility that he could even be an upgrade over Mike McGlinchey when it comes to pass protection. Run blocking, I think they're very similar. Pass protection, it might even be a little bit of an upgrade there. We'll see how it plays out. One thing, though, when you talk about the 49ers, you talk about that offensive line, you have to talk about offensive line coach Chris Foerster. He does such a great job of getting those guys up and going and ready to play. Back in 2019, Joe Staley went down and they went 7-0 with Justin Skule playing left tackle. Justin Skule hardly had any snaps after that season, was out of the NFL. Like I already mentioned, the game in 2021 with McKivitz starting at left tackle, Tom Compton playing right tackle and starting that game. They went all the way to the NFC Championship game, nearly to the Super Bowl in 2021 with Tom Compton at right tackle, replacing Mike McGlinchey. And then, last year, like I said as well, and you have McKivitz and his ability to get out there, and he's playing opposite of Mike McGlinchey in the game against the Rams last year up at Levi Stadium, and they were still able to hold their own and take down the Rams. And you look at this team, and you look at this offensive line, like I said, that starting five with Williams, Banks, Brendel, and Burford, those four coming back, you would expect Banks, Brendel, and Burford, those killer bees in the middle, those three, who are all making their first-year starters last year, to be better here in year two with the 49ers, and really year two overall in the NFL in terms of starting. So you would expect them to be able to take a little bit of a jump forward in year two. And then you add in McKivitz there, and you always have Trent Williams, the all-pro, on the left side. Where the offensive line gets a little iffy is when you get into the backups. But even then, I don't think it's nearly as bad as what some people might suggest. John Feliciano is a guy who started a lot of games in the NFL at center, at guard, and they brought him in as a free agent. He'll be able to compete, and he gives them a really good backup swing type of player on the inside. And then you have Nick Zakelj, who's a second-year offensive lineman. I think people are sleeping on him a little bit as well. John Lynch talked about Zakelj during the offseason, about how much work he was putting in, how he had been around the facility throughout the offseason. And Zakelj is a guy who is mostly thought of as an interior player. The 49ers see him more as a guard, center type of player. But Zakelj also played tackle in college, so he has that ability to slide outside if need be. And then as far as their swing tackle, where they are right now, you have a guy like Matt Pryor. You have Jalen Moore. Both of them have done that in the past. I think, watching Jalen Moore over the last couple of years, I think Matt Pryor has a really good shot at coming in and displacing him as that eighth man on the line of scrimmage for the 49ers, that eighth man on the roster, I should say, with that starting group up front. So we'll see how it plays out, but even Zakelj might have the ability to challenge Moore and Pryor in order to be on the active roster, to be on the game day roster as that swing tackle, swing interior player along with Feliciano. The good thing for the 49ers here with their offensive line, like I said, They're bringing back 4 of their 5 starters from a group last year that was 6th best in the NFL in terms of their pass protection ability. You look at it, and I think this is going to be a solid group for the 49ers. All they need to do is to have their quarterback get the ball out on time, open up those holes in the running game, and I think the 49ers are set to make a deep run in the playoffs and get into the Super Bowl as well. They have, I think, the best roster in the NFC, and I think it'll play out as long as the quarterback position does what it's supposed to do. There you have it. I'd love to hear your feedback on what you think about the 49ers offensive line. Please take it for what it's worth. Let me hear your thoughts. Also, if you can do this for me before you leave, hit that like button, and then also make sure you subscribe to the channel. When you hit that subscribe button, also turn on your notifications. Training camp, just a couple days away. I will be in Santa Clara. I will be in Las Vegas for every 49ers practice of training camp. You're not going to want to miss any of those updates right here on Inside the 49ers with Jack Hammer. Have a great day, everybody. We'll talk with you soon.